Whoa, 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 let me make sure I have everything first. Sunglasses check, hat check, Pepsi check, vape check, notes check, thick skin check, and sources check. Man, let's go. Welcome back to Golden Blued, everybody. If you're a college football fan, you already know what to do. Hit the like and subscribe button because that's all we do here. Also, go check out our Patreon page. A lot of great perks over there. We have exclusive live shows for the Patreons, discounts off the merchandise store, live streams with college football games, and don't forget about the score prediction contest. Golden Blued is still rolling well past 9,000 subscribers, but we have a goal of 10,000 subscribers by the kickoff of the Backyard Brawl. That is September 1st. I know we can do it, but we can't do it without you hitting the subscribe button. It is most definitely not looking good for the Pac-12. They keep showing more and more and more signs of going down the toilet. Bad news for the Pac-12. And here's the thing. So Bret Yormark, the new commissioner for the Big 12, during Big 12 Media Days, said that the Big 12 was open for business, talking about conference realignment. And George Kliavkoff, the current Pac-12 commissioner, said something that sounded a little tongue-in-cheek, yes, but at the same time, it's like, why would you say this at this point in time? The response that George Kliavkoff gave to that was, I appreciate that. We haven't decided if we're going shopping there or not. Dude, come on. Look, and I'm not trying to trash George Kliavkoff. I actually thought that was a great hire by the Pac-12. I think they took a step forward. But now we're seeing that the Pac-12 is getting picked apart, and now he responds with a tongue-in-cheek comment. Now is not the time to be talking like that. You better be looking at the Big 12 and trying to convince teams to come to the Pac-12 because you're going down the drain. This is no time to be joking. This is no time to make a play on words, whatever you were trying to do. Take this serious. The Pac-12 is in danger of going extinct. Now, after all is said and done, I think there's only going to be 4 teams that remain in the Pac-12, and that's if you're lucky. That's going to be definitely Oregon State and Washington State, but also possibly Cal and Colorado, because I think Oregon and Washington, they land in the Big Ten. Stanford probably lands in the Big Ten. Utah could land in the Big Ten or the Big 12. Arizona and Arizona State, I think they both land in the Big 12. And then Colorado and Cal, those two are up in the air, but definitely Oregon State and Washington State, they will not have a landing spot. So it depends on what happens with the other members as far if Cal and Colorado remain in the Pac-12. And from what I heard, Colorado and Arizona did put their application into the Big 12, and the Big 12 is expected to accept them on August 1st, which is when Bret Yormark's tenure as Big 12 commissioner officially starts. I'm expecting some big news on August 1st as far as new members in the Big 12. But the thing is, a representative for Colorado said, yeah, we looked into the Big 12. That's not really our cup of tea. We don't really want to go to the Big 12. Are you kidding me? Unless you know that you're going to the Big Ten, and you could be, because Kevin Warren said that they're going to have a school that represents the 4 corners in the Mountain Time Zone. That includes Utah, Colorado, Arizona, and Arizona State, so it could be any 4 of those teams. So Colorado could be headed to the Big Ten in the future. I don't know. But if you're not, you better join the Big 12. Otherwise, you're going to get stuck in the Pac-12, and here's what could happen. Number 1, they could do a complete merger with the Mountain West. Currently, the Mountain West consists of Air Force, Boise State, Colorado State, Fresno State, Hawaii, Nevada, New Mexico, San Diego State, San Jose State, UNLV, Utah State, and Wyoming. So they could do a complete merger, and it just becomes one big conference, adding Oregon State, Washington State, Cal, and Colorado. In that case, maybe the Pac-12 could keep their name. Or those remaining 4 teams just straight up join the Mountain West and the Pac-12 goes away altogether. Maybe that's just a different term of saying the same thing. I don't know. Or the third option, the Pac-12 picks off the teams out of the Mountain West to keep that Pac-12 name intact. Because here's the thing. The current Mountain West TV deal is worth $270 million. That's not even the highest group of 5 TV deal. The AAC owns that. Compare that to the current Pac-12 TV deal, which is abysmal for a Power 5 conference TV deal at $435 million. That's a big gap. That is a massive gap. So that tells you, as bad as the TV deal is for the Pac-12, the group of 5 conferences, their TV deals are far, far worse. So I think the highest likelihood, if the Pac-12 does indeed keep that TV deal, would be teams from the Mountain West joining the Pac-12 outright to get more money. Then the Mountain West, they might have to backfill. I don't know. That's a whole other rabbit trail that I'm not going down right now. So what are the teams that the Pac-12 could be interested out of the Mountain West. What about Air Force? That's a big question mark. That could go either way. I mean, they are a service academy. They have a decent fan base. Could bring in some money. I don't know. But it wouldn't be a guarantee that the Pac-12 would bring in Air Force. That's a question mark. Next up, Boise State. That's a check mark. The Pac-12 would most definitely bring in Boise State. Boise State would add value. They have a great fan base. They're investing a lot of money into their facilities. I do think that Boise State waited too late to do that. You should have been trying to join a power conference 10 years ago, investing money into your facilities. You waited too late, and now you're looking at your only option of being in a power conference is the Big 12, and the Big 12 is looking at Pac-12 members. So you went from the top of the list to the bottom of the list. Now you might have to join a depleted Pac-12, but they would take you. Next up is Colorado State. Would they take Colorado State? Yes, I think this would be a good addition for the Pac-12, especially if Colorado backs themselves into a corner and ends up staying in the Pac-12. That's a great rivalry. It would add some value. What about Fresno State? Fresno State is one of the better brands in the Mountain West. I think that would be a good addition for the Pac-12. Fresno State's been very competitive on the football field, and they have a great fan base. What about Hawaii? No, avoid Hawaii. The travel in and of itself, not worth it, and Hawaii adds no value at all. Do not try to get Hawaii. What about Nevada? I would say yes. I think Nevada is one of the stronger brands, not the best brands, but a stronger brand, decent fan base, decent football product, have a nice TV market, not one of the best, but Reno, that's better than nothing, so I would say yes to Nevada. What about New Mexico? Absolutely not. This is atrocious. Terrible, terrible brand. The fans don't care whatsoever about New Mexico. Skip New Mexico. What about San Diego State? San Diego State would be a must. Absolutely. That would be the first team that you would contact. They just built a new football stadium. It's a great TV market. There could be a lot of money to be made with San Diego State. So I would say absolutely try to get San Diego State first and foremost. They should be number one on your list. What about San Jose State? That one's still up in the air. That could go either way. I mean, they do bring some value, but they're not one of the best brands. So they're a take it or leave it type of brand. What about UNLV? UNLV has potential. They have a great TV market. The problem is right now the fans just don't care about UNLV. But if you put them in a power conference or a conference that hopes to remain a power conference, do they get more invested in their team? Not sure about that. They have great facilities. They share a stadium with the Las Vegas Raiders. State-of-the-art football stadium. Amazing. But still, one of those brands where you could take them or leave them. What about Utah State? I would say yes. They're not one of the best brands, but they're not a bad brand. And they have a great fan base, and you would retain the state of Utah in some form or fashion with Utah leaving. So yes, I would say take Utah State. What about Wyoming? Wyoming's a possibility. At first, I had them as a solid no. When I looked into them, their fans actually do care. They haven't put out a great football product out on the field, but they have a good fan base. Of course, they carry an entire state, although it's not very populated at all, but still it does give you a footprint, allows you to carry an entire state. I would say yes. Hesitant, but beggars can't be choosers. So yes, I would take Wyoming. Now with all those additions, what I'm about to describe, does this look like a power conference? You ready? So here's what the new Pac-12 would look like. If it stays at 10, they're not worried about the Pac-12, good with the Pac-10, it would look like this. Boise State, Cal, Colorado State, Fresno State, Nevada, Oregon State, San Diego State, Utah State, and Washington State. That's not bad for a group of 5 conference. In fact, it could be one of the best. A power conference? I don't think so. But what if the Pac-12 wants to stay the Pac-12? They don't want to go back to the Pac-10. Well, the additions could be either Air Force, San Jose State, UNLV, or Wyoming. Personally, I would go with Wyoming and Air Force. You already have San Diego State, so you have that area wrapped up. San Jose State fans don't really care. Their facilities are horrible. So even though I had them on a question mark, if it comes down to 12 members, and don't go with San Jose State. Same with UNLV. I know they have a lot of potential, but the fans just don't care. Air Force and Wyoming would be your best bet if you're trying to keep the Pac-12 moniker. But to answer the question earlier, does this look like a power conference? It does not look like a power conference at all. I'm not going to say the days of the Pac-12 are numbered. They could stay intact, but the days of the Pac-12 being a power conference, those days are numbered. You're done as far as being a power conference. Sorry, Pac-12. It is what it is. You have to make better decisions than what you did. So y'all let me know in the comments section, what do you think happens? Do you think the Pac-12 and the Mountain West straight up merge? Do you think the Pac-12 teams join the Mountain West? Or do you think the Pac-12 is able to pick off the Mountain West? Remember, the current Pac-12 TV deal is actually better than the current Mountain West TV deal. That's all I got for you for this show. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you on my next show.